One of the variables we have to learn to face is the sprawl. So oftentimes when I wrestle up, generally jiu-jitsu guys are like full guards at front head, where wrestlers, as you wrestle up, they look to sprawl on you. Something we have to get good at is the bailing out and the re-attack. How we can bail out is, let's say I wrestle up, he sprawls on me, I can either fight the sprawl, or as I bail out, I'll rotate elbows forward, I'll tuck my head in between my shoulders, and I'll back out. This sets up many different things. We can drag, we can work from a front head series, but a proper way to bail out is to rotate your elbows up, tuck your head between your shoulders, and back out. You become a smaller target, harder for them to hold on to you. So opponent's standing in front of me, I start wrestling up, he sprawls. Immediately I start bailing out. As I bail out, I start getting my hands on top of my opponent and chasing this front head position. Generally, I end up in a position where my chest is on his back and I have two hands and armpits. I'll pull him forward to break him down a little bit closer towards the mat. From here, I can start chasing things from front head submissions. I'll start stepping my right knee behind the elbow, and I'll start shooting my right hand in. As I shoot my right hand in, I use my left hand to bump his head and make the perfect amount of space to chase his darts. Commonly done incorrectly is opponents will look to come in with the secondary hand, bringing it almost in between the armpit, whereas as we chase the darts, I have right hand shooting in, and I'll shoot left hand across the front of the head. Now as I fall towards the right, it makes it fairly easy for me to lock up the darts. When it's locked up, I have the goal of walking my hands all the way across their shoulders to the far shoulder. I now have the goal of stepping over either two or even one leg, either way it works, and then retracting my elbow in order to secure the finish. So a small detail that makes all the difference when we get to the front head position is using our lead arm to bump my opponent's head to make enough space to shoot my choking head in. And as I'm falling, I'm gripping my bicep and then shooting my left, stay on your side, and then shooting my left hand over. I have the goal of finger walking my hand all the way to the far trap, all the way to the far lat, and then scooting in so our bodies are almost parallel. I want to step over either one or two legs. Either way, I can retract the elbow and secure my finish. So I go from a wrestling up position to getting sprawled on where I bail out, and I start working from the front head position to chase front head submissions. So I'm in a position, maybe he reaches for tie, I wrestle up, he sprawls, I back out properly by flaring my elbows, tucking my head in between my shoulders, and backing out. Again, becoming a smaller target. The moment I back out, I bring hands to the elbows, and I chase the front head position. I pull him forward to get his weight coming forward. Now I have many options. One of the options is chasing the darts. I begin creating the angle by stepping my right knee closer towards elbow, and I start shooting my right hand in. Simultaneously, as I shoot my right hand in around his neck, I also use my lead hand to bump his head, creating enough space around the neck so I can acquire my darts. Now, as I begin falling towards my right, I grip my bicep, and I begin walking my fingers across. Just stay turtle for this. Just for demonstration purposes, when I lock up the darts, I want to walk my fingers towards the far track. Most of the time, this will happen when you're on your side. So understand, lead hand bumping the front of the face. Lead hand comes in front, not inside. This slows you down. So lead hand comes in front of the face as my choking hand comes in. Now I will grab a grip on the bicep and I start choking. Say turtle. As I get this locked up, I begin walking my fingers all the way to the far trap, to the far lat, and I can secure the finish. So again, going from a wrestling up position, as I wrestle up, he sprawls, I bail. Elbows wide, head tucked, get right to the re-attack. Use armpits to pull him forward and break down his base. Set my right knee behind his elbow. As I shoot my right hand in, I also use my left hand to bump the head and create space around the neck. As we fall, I grip bicep and I walk my fingers all the way to the far lat. I step to get parallel towards him. I have the goal of stepping over one or two legs. Either way, when I'm here, I begin retracting my choking elbow and securing the finish. So once again, going from wrestling up, mandatory front head series. Opponent goes for a collar tie. I bump, I wrestle up. He sprawls, I bail out, and we get onto the re-attack. As I cut the corner, I start shooting darts by bumping the head and getting my attacking hand deep. As we fall, I grip the bicep and start walking my fingers towards the far lat. I step to get perpendicular, then step over the leg. I begin retracting my right elbow and secure the fist. I post and I start wrestling over the single leg. As I come up to the single leg and I'm reaching towards the hips, I shove the body and end up standing for body lock. So, two main things that happen. First thing, if he has a deep overhook, then I'll start sitting backwards. If it's kind of loose, I can simply pulse and slide and end up standing for body lock. From a position like this, obviously we have many options. One of the better options is to put his hands on the ground. Typically, I prefer to put his hands on the ground, using a method in which I set my leg over his thigh, pinching my knees together. I'll deepen my grip from a 10-finger or palm to palm to a wrist to wrist. From here, I'll lean forward, put his hands on the mat. Once his hands are on the mat, I have to bring him down a little bit more. I'll step on his toes, foot to foot. I'll step out wide. I'll bump his knee with my right knee as I circle him down towards the mat. The second his hips are on the ground is towards my advantage. So from the second his hips hit the ground, I want to break him down further. I'll chop him towards an elbow. I'll use a 2-on-1 to roll him towards getting the shoulder on the mat. From here, I can take a 1-on-1 and a claw grip and force this kind of half bar position. From here, it's fairly easy to sit and expose his back, getting 2 glutes in. Typically, when I'm on the back, I always prefer to get my body triangle before chasing the rear naked choke. What you see oftentimes is guys who get boots in and they immediately go for the rear naked choke, and now it's easy to lose the body position because we don't have the body triangle locking it in place. So exposing the back is great, but understand the value of acquiring the body triangle before we chase the rear naked choke. So I'm pulling guard, he's posting, boom, I win the hand fight, get to the wrestle up, I go back step and get to the hips. Shove him by, and I deepen my grip, wrist to wrist, pinching his knees, pinching my knees along his lead leg. From here, I lean forward and put his hands on the mat. I get foot to foot, toe to toe. I step my left leg out wide. If my left leg is fairly close, he can underhook this leg and just create different problems for me. So I step nice and wide, and I use my upper body to circle him down towards the mat. Upper body to be very adamant about left shoulder rotating forward and right elbow pulling backwards. Essentially, all of my weight is on his upper body, twisting him in this direction. So here, while I'm twisting him, I then give a simple bump to his knee, and this breaks him down towards the hip. The second he's broken down towards the hip, I'll pull the elbow, bring him down to our elbow, and then use a 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 if necessary. Roll him towards the shoulder. I'll continue to have this palm to wrist connection as I shoot my hand towards his trap. I step the leg over, and I give him this half bar position. The goal in a perfect world would be to get my foot all the way towards the mat, but generally we end up in this half bar position. From here, I'll step my left knee up wide, and I'm able to pull my opponent towards the right. As we fall towards the right hand side, I have the goal of getting my secondary hook in. Even if he's even if he's knee to chest, I'll bring my heel in towards my opponent's hip, and I'll pull my toes outward. I can now wiggle my heel inside, and I get my secondary boot. The second I get boots in, I have the idea of lengthening one leg and shortening the other. So as opposed to having legs together at the same height, I lengthen one and shorten the other while remaining foot to foot. So I keep foot to foot connection the entire time, extend and retract. From here, I lace a body triangle, bring it towards the outside. Now I can start becoming offensive, chasing things like rear naked chokes. So one more time, wrestling up to standing rear body lock. I grip the elbow, I shoot for the lead leg. As he pulls away, I start wrestling up. As I wrestle up with a single leg, I start reaching, I get into a back step. He has a shallow overload, so I can just simply bump that by and get the standing rear body lock. Once I get the standing rear body lock, I start stepping in front as I deepen my grip from a 10-finger to a wrist to wrist. I pinch my knees together, lean forward, put his hands on the mat. As soon as his hands hit the mat, I step on his foot toe to toe, left leg comes out wide. As right shoulder rotates forward and left, and I'm sorry, as left shoulder rotates forward and right elbow goes backwards, I bring him down to our hip. From here, close to arm. I really do like a misdirectional rear naked choke to where I'm choosing the choke with the top arm, and as I choke, my opponent grabs my thumb line and starts pulling away. This can be quite discerning, right? He's defending pretty well. So he's grabbing my thumb line and pulling away. Now, something I can do here, and I've used this in multiple competitions, as I go for rear naked choke, grab thumb line and then pulling away. I use them pulling away to pull my opponent's face away. Go chin to chest. So I'm going across the face, and as he pulls my thumb line away, I retract my choking hand pretty heavily so that his face is turning away. Now what this does is creates enough space for my secondary hand. So initially, I'm winning cross grips, I push away, and I'm chasing the rear naked choke. As he grabs my thumb line, he pulls it down, and I allow him to pull it down as I retract my elbow and change the angle of his face. From here, this gives me a perfect opportunity to retract my bottom hand and start attacking with my secondary hand. From here, I can start releasing up the rear naked choke. Now, initially, as soon as we get to the back, again, I'm going to say this again just because it's very important to understand. For control, best position is bottom side underhook with your head in between the head and his head and the mat, and top side triangle. From here, I have the goal of chasing cross grips, controlling cross wrist. As I extend the cross grip, I then start chasing the rear naked choke. If it works perfectly, I simply choke with the top hand, no problem. But as I go for this, he grabs my thumb line. As he retracts the thumb line, I retract my elbow and make his face turn away. As I do so, I slip the secondary hand in, and it becomes my primary hand. From here, I go left elbow high, wrist over wrist, as I roll my shoulders forward. This creates enough space between the back of the head and my chest. If my chest is in, I'm going to hit the head, hit my chest. It's going to be fairly difficult to finish this. So I roll my shoulders forward. I cross wrist over wrist as I go elbow high, wrist low. I continue to walk my hands in. And as I walk my hands in, I walk two hands up my traps. So instead of finishing on the bicep, I'm finishing with two hands on my traps. And then I'm using a rotational finish by retracting my elbow and using my lat to squeeze. So initially, get to the back, top side triangle, bottom side underhook, and I'm using cross grips. I extend the top grip, I chase the rear naked choke. He grabs my thumb line. As he pulls it down, I retract my elbow and make his face turn away. I then use my secondary hand, and I start choking with the bottom hand. As I do so, I go wrist over wrist, elbow high. I rotate my shoulders forward, and I start walking two hands up the traps. From here, I press my chest in, and I begin retracting my right elbow in order to secure the finish. So one more time, we get to the back, bottom side underhook, top side triangle. Time to chase grips. I chase cross grips, I extend the grip, go chin to chest, and start chasing the choke. He grabs my thumb line, which is great defense. As he pulls it down, I retract my elbow to make his face turn away. I then start choking with the bottom hand. I go elbow high, wrist low, concave chest by rolling shoulders forward. I walk two hands up my traps, bring my chest back in. I begin retracting my right elbow and finish with a rotational finish as opposed to like a curling squeeze. So let's switch to a Anaconda high risk series. So same setup, right? I back out, come to the hands on the armpit, pull them forward to bring them down further towards the mat, and now we start attacking Anaconda. A perfect Anaconda will consist of hand going inside across the neck, coming out, popping out around the armpit, locking a gable grip up, and then I'll block the elbow with my left knee. Once I block the elbow, I'll transition to gripping the bicep and walking my hands nice and deep. As I roll under my opponent, I'll curl my body in, and I have the goal of getting my knee over their elbow. If they can flare their elbow, this can produce quite a difficulty for me. So I lock the bicep, I walk my hands nice and deep as I would in a darce, right? Hands all the way to the lap. I circle my knee out and around to get over top of his elbow. From here, I begin retracting my choking hand and securing my finish. So, stage one, going for the Anaconda. I end up in the front head series. I shoot hand in, lock the gable grip, step the elbow behind, shoot to my bicep, and I begin rolling, curling my body in, and then bringing my knee over their elbow, and then retracting the choking elbow, right, securing the Anaconda finish. Now, oftentimes what I like to do as well is fake the Anaconda, go for the high risk guillotine. When I go for the Anaconda, same setup, right? I'm breaking down towards the mat, shooting hand in, locking palm to palm, stepping knee behind elbow. When I step knee behind elbow, this makes my opponent want to pull his elbow away. As he does so, reverse a little bit. I step knee behind elbow. As he pulls his elbow away, I slide my head over to the opposing side of his shoulders, and I switch to high risk guillotine. I fold my knuckles in, and I glue the knuckles towards my chest. Simultaneously, as I shoot my left hand in, I grip my elbow. I also slide my lower body in. As I slide in, I pull it towards me, slide my top leg over top, in order to retract the elbow, and secure a high risk guillotine finish. So these two movements tie in really well together. First one, initially, I'm going for the Anaconda. As I step over the elbow, he pulls his elbow wide for defense, which is good proper defense. As I feel him pull the elbow away, I slide my ear towards the right. As I switch to a high risk guillotine, I glue my knuckles towards my chest, and I deepen my left hand to grip my elbow. As I slide in, I also pull him towards me, and I swing my top leg over, and in order to retract my choking hand, securing the high risk guillotine. So option one, going for the standard Anaconda. We get to the front hand series against a bigger guy. Kind of hard to do with Darce, so I'm opting for Anaconda. Shoot in choking hand, lock the gable grip. Step knee behind the elbow, switch to a bicep grip. Again, walking the hand nice and high on the trap, on the lap. As I roll underneath, I come around and bring my knee to block the elbow from widening. From here, I can retract the choking hand and collect the finish. Wider opponent, and it's fairly difficult to get my body triangle, right? It's too wide. So from here, what I'll do is I get 2 boots in, I'll extend 1 foot and I'll retract the other. I also have the idea of constantly having a foot-to-foot connection. So again, the second I get the second boot in, boom, I extend 1 leg, retract the other, while continuing to have constant foot-to-foot connection. If my feet are not connected, I'm like so, you can simply remove one, either that being the top or the bottom. So again, foot-to-foot connection, extending and retracting. Also, I have constant heel-to-butt motion. I'm always pulling back. Now, it's time to start trapping an arm because it's too wide to lock a body triangle. I have the idea, again, of acquiring cross grips. Controlling cross grips. I'll extend one, and I'll step the top leg over. This moment I step the top leg over, I'll bring the secondary leg, and I have constant heel-to-butt pressure. If I'm relaxed, he can simply limp arm out. This creates, and I'm kind of back to square one. So, cross grips, extend, retract, constant heel-to-butt motion. I use cross grips to extend one arm, step over. As I do so, I recross and re-engage my heel-to-butt. From here, I'll pass off, control hands, and I'll start chasing the rear-naked choke as so. From here, I can simply pull up and have the same idea of rotating shoulders forward, concave chest, bring the chest back in, and chasing the rear-naked choke. So option one, top side body triangle, and bottom side underhook, best for control. Controlling cross grips, he has chin to chest, I'm going for the choke, he pulls thumb down, and I retract my elbow, big away. Pull guard, now he's gonna want to get his own collar tie. As he goes for the hand fight, I block V grip at the elbow, I start attacking the lead leg. As I pull the lead leg, he pulls away, I start heisting up to the single leg. While I go for the single leg, I immediately transfer to the left hand on the hip, as I back step and have the goal of locking 2 hands on the hips. From here, as I step in, I set my left leg nice and deep towards the secondary leg, and I move my ear towards the chest. I use the ear on the chest to sit on the back. I'm stepping deep across towards the second leg. I'm gluing my ear to the chest. I'm using my thigh essentially as a seat, as a shelf to sit my opponent over, and I have my ear glued to the chest, so I'm able to off balance him towards the mat. So once again, attacking my opponent with wrestle up. Heavy collar tie, boom. push him away. He goes for his collar tie. And my high wrist will be fairly shallow. While he pulls his elbow away, I slide my ear towards the right, get my high wrist guillotine, and then slide it back towards the center line. Now, essentially, I'm locking his head inside this high wrist grip. So, very important to understand the value. He pulls the elbow away. When we go for high wrist, we don't just switch, but rather we slide our ear towards the right as we switch to high wrist, and then bring it back to the center line in order to lock that hand in place and secure the finish. 3, 2, 1.